Daniel Cianci. It's like I'm speaking to myself, Daniel.
The younger version of you.
The younger version. Yeah, that's right. How old are you?
33.
33. So I'm 36. So I was researching myself on LinkedIn like a dummy to see if there were other Daniel Ciancis in the world, and there happens to be another Daniel Cianci who is from Venezuela, and he currently lives in Houston, Texas, and he has a podcast on wisdom. Now, I'm not saying that's my niche, but there's no that you can't make this stuff up. These synchronicities, there's just no chance on God's green earth that this is just by pure luck. Now, I see Daniel puts out a lot of awesome content. He has guests on his podcast as well. And I reached out to him via LinkedIn, and we had like an hour long conversation, our first discussion, and this is our second discussion. And we were just getting into, I personally, I don't hate it, but I dislike podcasting. I sound like a whiny little baby, but I dislike podcasting. I dislike the editing and the monotony of podcasts. I don't even put videos out there like that. I mean, sometimes I'll do some reels. I had a couple before in the past, but it's just not my forte. But he asked me a very simple question. He said, "Well, why did you start podcasting?" Now, Daniel, I've said this in the past. I am a hardcore gambler.
Okay.
I've lost a ton of money in the past, and before I won a lot of money and lost a lot of money. But before this, 5 years ago or what have you, it was 2000 and I want to say 2021 or 2021. I prayed to God to replace the gambling addiction. That's what I did. But I couldn't sleep that night, and I just clicked record on my phone and started like making jokes, and I sent it to my brother and a couple of people, and they said it was pretty funny, and I was like, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to try to do the impossible, a grassroots podcast with people that are not well known but have incredible stories. Like every human being has an awesome story. So I couldn't sleep that night. I prayed about it. I couldn't sleep that night, and I started the podcast. But what I just realized as I was saying that is I prayed to replace my gambling addiction. To I didn't pray to I didn't pray to give me the next best a business idea or the next best idea. I prayed to simply replace my gambling addiction. I started gambling again after that. Currently, I'm not actively gambling. I'll probably gamble again. It's not like, but now that I have a son, it's like um, it's not as important to me, Daniel. So that's why I started. And why did you start yours?
Okay. So first of all, thank you for sharing that story. I understand. I mean, I understand why you lost a lot of money because when you bet on Philly sports teams, you're going to lose a bunch of money. That is a that is a given. So uh, that's on you, my brother. That's on you. I mean, yeah.
Well, I'm a Steelers fan, but I do like the Sixers and the Flyers, and I don't follow hockey like that, but I like the Flyers. I also like the Penguins. They were a pretty not a dynasty, but they were very good in like the past few years. They're always in there. They're always contentious. And then the Eagles, I rooted for them this Super Bowl, but I am not an Eagles fan. I repeat,
See,
not an Eagles fan.
I think that was your issue. You were betting on the wrong team. You know, the Steelers haven't done shit in the last whatever
I
since
know.
since they won the last Super Bowl like 15 years ago. But then also you're betting on the Sixers. Sixers are just hey. I mean I don't. It's almost like you're betting on Embiid to play. That is a you're gonna
He's
lose money regardless.
yeah, you're right. He's a whiny baby that doesn't he's very good. He's a dominant basketball player, but the whole Sixers organization, some people think that they're tanking again, but currently, Daniel, I've been unplugged from sports and the news. Just the past few days, I've watched a couple ABC News, ABC News, but Politics, my last couple episodes, they were heavily into politics, but I like to stray away from it. Religion, though, I love discussions on God or the lack
Yeah,
thereof for certain people.
no, for sure. But yeah, when it comes to sport, I mean, I don't watch the entire game. I don't have the time. I would just watch a couple of highlights or news. Okay, I'm sort of staying aware of what's happening across different leagues. Politics, I just don't get into that because to me, it feels like
If
because we have a negativity bias,
Yeah,
because we have a negativity bias, because negative news sell more than positive news, because they're trying whether you're left, right, Democrat, Republican, CNN, Fox News, whatever the case may be, they, every media outlet out there is going to angle it in a negative way because that's how they get clickbait. That's how they get, I mean, like viewers. And the more you, at least on my personal opinion, the more you fill yourself or your brain with negative news, that's how you're gonna see the world anyway. So to me, it's like I don't want that to start affecting my life. I see a lot of miserable people just being extremely triggered. Or if Trump does something, or if Kamala does something, or if Biden or whatever, like okay, whatever they do, it's not truly going to affect you that much. I come from a third world country. Whatever they did, those politicians or just corrupt people were doing were affecting us. But when you're in a first world country, what those people do, it's like your life is not going to change that much. Sure, the price of eggs are higher. People are not making enough money to pay the bills. That is going to happen, and that is beyond who's sitting, at the presidential chair. Having said that, just that I went sort of on a tangent, but going back to your initial questions of why did I start my podcast? It's like to me, years and years ago, probably 2017, 2018, I was listening to a podcast for the first time called How I Built This. They interview entrepreneurs,
what was it called?
telling them
What was it called, Daniel?
how I built this.
I built this. Okay, okay, okay.
How I built this. And this guy is an amazing interviewer, amazing storyteller. He has interviewed the founders of Southwest, so Boston Beer Company, Stacy Ships, and Mark Cuban, and all, Liquid Death, all of these amazing entrepreneurs, and he has shared their stories and how they built such empires. Anyhow, the whole purpose of me listening to the podcast was to hopefully get a business idea.
Okay.
And after binging like 30, 40 episodes, I did not get a single business idea, which is like, okay, kid, this kind of sucks because I didn't get any. But I gained a new love and appreciation for storytelling, for listening to people's stories. So like, it would be cool if one day I do a podcast for just as a hobby. To me, it wasn't something that as important. It wasn't something that, oh, it's going to be my last dream or it's going to be on my bucket list. To me, it was, hey, if it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, no big deal. Fast forward a few years later to
Okay.
2023, I went through some shit in my life. And at that point, my intuition was telling me, now, this is the right time to pursue that. And I have such a incredible clarity for the first time in my life of what I wanted to do with my life and what direction I should take. And that's what I ended up doing. That's what I did. That's what I started. Hey, I did some research. I said, hey, I'm going to give myself 4 or 5 months to do as much research as I can, to start building a website, to start building all the foundation that I needed to launch a podcast. And first week of 2024, I launched the first episode, and then I've been doing every week ever since. But I had to sit. I had to sit with the idea in 2023 and ask myself, do I truly want to do this? If this is my question, I think, is this intuition or desire? If it's this desire because it looks easy, people are making money out of it. Not everyone, very few, by the way, but it's because it looks cool or it's something deeper that my body or my higher self, however you want to call it, is telling me to pursue that. Like I said, for like 2 weeks or 4 weeks with that idea or with that thought, it's like, you know what, this is what I want to pursue because when I didn't know anything about podcast, I found it fascinating. So that's how I got 2 4 right now.
Wow, man. Yeah, dude, that's phenomenal. And Daniel, you're doing things. You're going, you're giving it. So this is, I think, but these are where some points, some focal points where our podcasts, obviously the grand theme, right? Having
Mhm.
conversations with people and explaining, how they're doing what they're doing, or just about life general. See, you do all this research. You did research before you started the podcast. You know some analytics about podcasts. You're like, you know what the heck you're doing. You give it 100% effort, Daniel. See, I must admit that I half ass it. I cut corners and I half ass it, and it's really not currently it's not having my son, being a father, being his dad is my number one goal, my number one priority, and and I love it. I can't wait till the little guy starts talking and stuff like that. As far as like work things go with me, it's very rarely can I say like I enjoy it so much. I love it. Now, it's not necessarily work. I have made money off of it, but that's not the end all be all either. My biggest thing is I have a problem quitting. Like I want to just like quit, but but I have a problem with that. Even if I know that if I give it all my effort and energy, it's going to be one of the top podcasts in the world. Which essentially it already is compared to most podcasters, but it's like I don't care that much about the limelight or the podcast, but I do think that my perspective is better than most. But our podcasts are very similar. It's just you're going all in on yours. And give me break out some analytics from your research, because I know you know about the podcast game. So because last time we talked, the first and only other time we spoke, you had some analytics about it, about like, so how many people quit after like a couple episodes or whatever. So that's my problem. I can't quit. I want to quit, but I
Okay,
can't.
okay.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Who made that rule? Who
What
made that
rule?
rule that you cannot quit?
um I just feel like such a or pussy. Yeah, I shouldn't
Okay,
curse,
so
but yes, I feel
no,
like
no,
that.
but why? Okay, so now, no, and this is fascinating, by the way. And I'm gonna ask this question because I'm a very curious person. Um, Clearly, that is attached to a story, right? If I quit, I'm a bitch, I'm a pussy, I'm a loser, fill in the blank. But
Yeah,
that, at the end of the day, that's a story that probably was created in in childhood, and you were not aware, like many, like most of us, if not every single person out there, is not aware of these stories being created in childhood. Stories, at the end of the day, were created by our brains to give a meaning, to help us understand a situation. But those stories are not necessarily true anymore, and we do have the power of rewriting the story. But the question that I would ask is, why why do you feel that you will be like that, call it a loser, call it a bitch, call it however you want to call it, if you quit?
because the whole podcast itself is basically overcoming, like persevering and overcoming obstacles. And one obstacle that I have is myself. It's my biggest obstacle. It's everybody's biggest obstacle, is the man in the mirror. So you know I'm out here getting people to come on and share their stories and talk, and then here I on a podcast about persevering, and then here I am just quitting. But it's not because I don't respect or love their stories, and talking with people like yourself or myself, since you and I are pretty much the same,
Oh,
different humans, but same name and same podcasts we're dealing with here. But I don't know. And not the fear of judgment so much, but the fear of I the feeling I would get if it became like number one or something would be awesome, because I know that it was, although I don't do all the research and do all the things that a professional may do. I i still think just making it and making it to the top would prove everybody that ever doubted me, um all the naysayers and non-supporting people, prove them wrong, um and also like not make a joke out of myself after doing it for almost 5 years and then stopping. And I don't know, obviously, if it made it to the top, it is a shit ton of money. And I know I want to say like donate a lot of it, but currently I don't do enough donating or helping those less fortunate. So I tend to run, for veterans. I tend to, when I can, donate to smaller nonprofits for veterans. So I'd be able to do that with a lot more money. So there's self-interest involved, but it's all ego, and that's pretty much it. And the cool thing about podcasting is it's like a journal, right, for people. So if one of the guests died on my podcast, he of terminal brain cancer, and his story is there for anybody that was close to him to hear his voice and hear us joking around and stuff like that. So it's something that lasts forever. If it's active, or if it keeps, I don't know what happens if I just stop podcasting and stop paying the Buzzsprout subscription fee. I wonder if the podcasts stay on there. But I think that's one of the benefits of it. I don't know, Daniel. I don't know where I'm at with it. 70% of me right now just wants to fold up shop, walk away, and 29% of me, I don't really know, what to do, but 1% of me is saying keep going. Don't be a quitter.
You know, this is interesting and fascinating because you started by saying that you started a podcast just to overcome your addiction of gambling. And one thing I know about addictions is I don't think we truly overcome addictions. We just change addictions to something, healthy. It could be working out, it could be hiking, it could be running, it could be
That's what it
anything else.
is.
However, however, and we just pick healthier addictions, I guess. But for you, by the way, I have started business in the past. I've tried other things. I've haphazard, and then I've quit in the past. And in fact, in my mind,
Wait, you did
well,
half-ass it, or you never half-ass?
go with other businesses. No, I have. Yes, I have haphazard, and
Okay,
then I
okay, okay.
realized and I realized that they were not truly aligned with what I wanted or looking for. See, and that's why I stopped myself and I wanted to ask myself the question, do I truly want to do this? Because we as humans, we tend to go after the shining object. I'm not saying that that's what you did, but then we see people, making a good living or doing something, whether it's just like drop shipping or crypto or Amazon,
Right.
FBA and things like that. And we just want to make money. And then when we jump into it and then we start doing it, it's like, okay, shit, I don't even like this thing. And then you sort of have acid because you're not involved emotionally and passionately for that specific thing. And it doesn't mean that if you quit, you're a quitter. It just means that the passion or the true alignment wasn't there. I don't know if podcasting is aligned with you. To me, in my personal experience, or at least in my podcast journey, I've done it for a while, and I've done it without getting any results, without making any money, with having very little growth in the last whatever 15 months. I still go for it because it is, once again, it is aligned, and I have like the clear vision. But what I'm trying to say with this, like, maybe I'm not I'm not 100% sure about this. The only
Listen.
person the only person that could the only person that can answer this question is you. It's like, okay, I understand that doing something like quitting might have a very significant impact on you, on the ego. That is normal. We're all humans, right? But it's almost like you just reframing instead of saying, "Hey, I don't want to quit because I'll be a quitter." Well, maybe I should stop doing this, and I'll find something that aligns more with what I want to pursue and aligns more with what I want to achieve. I'm not saying that you don't want to achieve success on podcast. I'm not saying that, but probably because it's up to me, I would love to achieve success on many different areas, but then which one aligns better with me? And not necessarily with the values, but mostly with your internal self, I guess. And once you find that, then it's so much easier to stick to it, even though you have been doing it for 5 years. I mean, that is endurance. And if you ask, and you were asking me earlier what the numbers are, 90% of the podcast, according to some, numbers out there, 90% of the podcast don't pass episode 3. And of the 10% remaining, 90% of them don't pass episode 20. So
Wait,
if you
don't
have
pass which one? Don't pass what?
episode episode 20.
Damn. Okay.
So by you having 21 episodes, you are in the top 1% of all the podcasts in the history of podcasts. Now, I don't know how updated those numbers are, since the podcast can have, like uh, just well, it's just there's so many podcasts out there now, but it could be still relatively to that. I know a few people who sort of started a podcast because again, a lot of people see the new shining object. Oh, I would just sit with my buddies or with my friends. I'll have a nice conversations. We're gonna have a great time. And we're gonna go viral, and then we're gonna make money. Da, 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 da. It is not like that. Some people might
No.
hit, that luck, but for the large majority, from the probably 99.8% of people or just podcasts, it's not going to be like that. So the fact that you've been doing it for 5 years talks a lot about the endurance and the consistency. But at the same time, when you say that you can only enjoy the conversations, to some extent, we all enjoy conversations because we are social species. We like to connect to others. But if you don't enjoy at all, like serious, like, hey, I hate this, or I extremely dislike doing everything else, probably podcasting no might not be the thing for you, but you're the only one that can truly answer that question.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, Daniel. I mean, it's just like it just doesn't, it doesn't like align with who I am. But then I think, well, does God want me to continue because he understands that my perspective is more unique, or I do think that my perspective on things and my open mindfulness and my ability to articulate things, although I am very uneducated on many things, I think that I can speak to a bunch of different people from a bunch of different cultures and not sound like a complete jagon. But who knows, man? I mean, why do you so now that, how many years are you in?
Okay, so before I answer that, you can still deliver your message, but it might be not through podcast. It could be a blog. It could be just writing
Yeah.
articles. It could be writing a book. It could be giving speeches. I mean, there's so if you feel that you have a unique message and a unique perspective, because we all have like a unique perspective, but then yours aligns more with what people need to hear or what people need to know. Podcast is just one avenue. You have so many different other avenues that you can exploit, or at least explore and see which one aligns more with your lifestyle, with who you are as a person. But then, I mean, there's limitless possibilities to what you can do with
Yeah, but
your.
eventually, Daniel, the easiest method to reach as many people would be podcasting to spread a message. But I really, more so than spreading a message, I think it's more so like just my ability. I'm not just my ability to communicate and listen to others and hear their message without like, although I have my values and my views, I'm willing to have a conversation with literally anybody on this planet. They could span complete opposite of everything I believe in, and I would invite them on the Daily American, because the Daily American, I mean, I believe we all do have that one. We all have one. We're all one. I mean, no man is better than another. No, the homeless guy or Donald Trump or Joe Biden, and the janitor, we are all equal in the eyes of the man upstairs.